there, from the cataract machine to the operating microscope to the sterilizer. Everything is there. And so now we're getting interest there. We have a gentleman from Washington State who may be joining us this January. We had someone from South Carolina last year down there. And so it's gaining interest.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, that you've started this and its outreach has gone in other areas. That's wonderful. How often do you do your mission trips?
It's been a little frustrating that we could only get down there once a year for a week. And it's a very busy, intense week. What we'd like to do, and we've talked about it, is soon start going down for a 2-week span. And I think that will really help. We also have an optometrist who's been involved in Georgia who will often go down for a week or two. And ideally what I'd like to do is have several ophthalmologists, optometrists go down throughout the year to provide some continuity in care. The biggest thing that came about this past visit last January was establishing a relationship with some ophthalmologists from the mainland.
Good.
And now that's been great. They're very supportive. When we leave, they also will kind of watch over if there's any problems
That's
arise.
great.
So it's nice having the support of the medical community down there.
That really is great. And your next scheduled trip is?
We're leaving January 8th.
That's cool.
For a week.
All right. You brought some pictures, and there are a lot of pictures. So if we don't get to all of them, I'll just say, we've got to go now. But Phil, if you'll put the pictures up on the screen, we'll get Dr. Bowers to tell us what they are.
Yeah, this is, of course, looking at Honduras over to the left part of the screen. And Roatan, you can't even see from this magnitude. You can kind of go down maybe one more picture. But on the north, just north of Honduras, lies this island, goes east to west. And as I said, the western part of this island on your left is the built-up tourist section. As you go further east, it becomes less roads, more mountainous, and these little communities just scattered around, impoverished and with poor access to much. And then this is a typical view of what it's like. People don't live in the mountains so much. They live along the edge where the water is. So all these little buildings are scattered along the shore. It's beautiful, beautiful. But as you can see, some of the housing conditions, there are some very nice homes, but many of them are just stilts, these little shacks that are built over the water. This is an example of another one, and just, you know, very typical. And this is probably considered an average home. Just to give you an idea, there's no formal sewage or septic system. In this case, you walk out the path into the little bay, and that's the outhouse there. Of course, they've got a little pig pen right next to it for their pigs. But the sewage, unfortunately, goes right into the water.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So we're trying to educate them too that, you know, from a health standpoint, this is not ideal. This
right.
And the next picture will demonstrate. Well, actually, this is a photograph of the clinic, but you'll see kids in the water swimming, and you just think, oh my goodness, you know, the things we just take for granted,
Right.
and it's no wonder something that could be easily treated with antibiotics could be life-threatening there.
Right.
So we're trying to work with the community to help clean up the water. But this is the clinic, the community-owned, and it's really good conditions, and so it's completely staffed. This is one of our first screenings we held there. We didn't do surgery the first visit down there. We just screened hundreds and hundreds of people to kind of get an idea of what the need was. So our kids were out there testing vision and just mingling. This was in June. Temperatures were over 100.
It was 115.
That's
115
terrible.
times. They're used to it. The air conditioning, when they come in, when we do have a little air conditioner unit, they're complaining how cold it is, which I can understand. And of course, we have a system bringing patients in with poor vision and dilating their eyes, and then you know, all the equipment is there, which is really nice. to be able to do as good as an exam as we do here in the States.
And she's just like women everywhere. She's clutching her purse.
And this is like a typical boy everywhere. Look at that grimace. Not happy to be there, but cooperative, and you know, just being able to examine all ages, and you know, that may be the only eye exam they have for who knows how long. This is Captain Pete. He's our first cataract patient we had the privilege of operating on, and we've got this tradition where major things that happen, we name our instruments or our cataract machine. Well, we happen to name our cataract machine Captain Pete. So when we talk about Captain Pete, it's in honor of Captain Pete, who was a captain on a fishing boat. This is the OR we have equipped out, as clean and sterile as any you'd find around here. In fact, Ben, one of the guys that hosts us down there, is into UV light for decontaminating, you know, germs and things. So it's all set up, and so it runs when we're not there.
We even set up the ozonation for water.
Yeah,
so we're able
water's
to
pure.
Wonderful.
Depend on the water.
But we have an operating microscope. Its name is Jonah because when it was shipped down, unfortunately they sent it to the wrong area of Honduras and had to cross the water and came out of the belly of the whale transport vessel, so we named it Jonah. But this is Pam assisting. And this is an up-close picture of doing surgery. Now, many times in these third world countries, we don't have the luxury of the instrumentation. What we use now in the United States is called phacoemulsification. Phaco means lens, emulsify means to liquefy. This little probe, which is the size of a pencil lead, we can introduce in a small incision and vacuum away the cataract. Many missions don't have this, and so you go to Ethiopia or someplace, you may have to make a large incision, kind of do the older technique of cataract surgery. But with this, we've got what we have here in the United States. We can do small incision surgery. They heal very quickly, and it's been great to bring that technology to them.
That's fantastic. We have about 5 more minutes, so we'll look at some more photos.
This is that famous cataract I named Black Pearl, because you don't see these very often here in the United States. And this one was too hard to use that small incision technique. A large incision had to be used to get it out, because it's almost like a rock. A normal cataract would be like hardened jello. This is the typical way people are transported around, boats. They don't have many cars. They go by water. And this is a patient coming back for his first post-op day visit with the patch on his eye, and comes right up to the clinic. And here are a group of patients who've had cataract surgery the previous day and waiting to be examined. Pam's been more involved with also kind of heading up the children's aspect. There's a lot of children on the island, and so she sets up, along with my daughters, this vacation Bible school, which they just love. And
I think it's wonderful that you do more than just the one thing while you're there.
I call Pam, you know, she's a kid magnet, and the kids see her coming and they yell, "Miss Pam," and they love her like a mother almost. I mean, they just swarm around her. This year, well, my oldest daughter got married recently, and so we inducted my son-in-law to share in the privilege of ministering to these kids. So he's very athletic, and so we put him to the test of playing a game of soccer. And you can see some of these kids are barefooted.
I do.
And the roots sticking up, stones, and it's amazing the talent they have in playing this game.
But this wasn't something that was foreign to Tim. He was actually grew up in a missionary family in the Caribbean, so he was. I told him he was our missing link. He was able to reach those boys that we weren't able to connect with.
Yeah, they loved him.
Let's see at least one more picture. This I think is the last one anyway, and we wanted to be sure to get this one in.
Yeah, this is Janae. She's a little girl that we met and really attached to Pam, and had this debilitating condition of her lower extremities becoming paralyzed. And so we ended up bringing her back to the States to get a formal medical evaluation. Unfortunately, it was a degenerative disorder we couldn't really do a whole lot about. Other than we did get her a mobile wheelchair, which really gave her some independence and mobility around the island.
That's wonderful. Nice. Just wonderful. Okay, I thank you both for being my guest. I wish we had more time. We certainly have more questions. Maybe we can get you to come back after your next mission and tell us how things are and how it went.
You're a pleasure.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. WSET News anchor Noreen Turin will be my guest on my next show, so you want to stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Good night.